They said something. You heard it. It stung. But what comes next is not their decision. It is yours. You can carry the comment, replay the moment, let it carve doubt, or you can choose silence, stillness, a path with no reaction. This is the core of Stoic philosophy. Not that life will stop testing you, but that your response is always within your control. If every little thing gets under your skin, you will spend your life reacting, defending, and draining your own peace. There will always be something. An insult, a delay, a rejection, a mistake. You can fight them all, or you can free yourself from needing to. It is not the insult that hurts. It is your attachment to how you are seen. It is not the delay that frustrates. It is your belief that everything must be on time. It is not the failure that breaks you. It is your refusal to let go of outcome. You are not here to win every battle. You are here to remain whole while others lose themselves in noise. Act as if nothing bothers you. Not because you are numb, but because you are trained. Because you have rehearsed in silence what others only feel when it is too late. True power is quiet. It does not rush to defend itself. It does not explain. It does not announce. It just moves with purpose, with calm, with precision. When something disrupts your peace, pause. Observe. Ask, is this worth my energy? Is this truly mine to carry? Is this a reflection of me or just the noise of the world? Most of the time, the answer is clear. It is not about you. It is not worth it. It is not needed. So you return to your breath, to your rhythm, to your silence. That is not weakness. It is wisdom. They want a reaction. Because they are used to chaos, they want noise because silence forces them to hear themselves, but you give them nothing. And that unsettles them. You move on, unaffected, unshaken. And while they wonder how you keep building, you keep living. You keep rising because your energy is too valuable to spend on things that do not serve your mission. Let people wonder why you are not rattled. Let them misjudge your silence. Let them try to understand your calm. Because in that mystery, there is strength in that restraint. There is depth, and in that unwavering presence, there is peace. This is how you walk through storms. This is how you stop being ruled by others. This is how you return to yourself, not by fighting every opinion, but by no longer needing to. Not by explaining your stillness, but by protecting it. And when you protect your peace long enough, it becomes who you are. Not a practice, but your identity. That is what Stoic philosophy builds. Not a life without challenge, but a life unshaken by it. You feel the insult and remain composed. You see the setback and remain focused. You encounter the drama and remain invisible to it because you no longer need the world to be quiet, for you to feel still. You carry your silence within you like armor, like clarity, like a shield no one else can touch. Not every comment deserves your answer. Not every glance deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your energy. You are not here to correct every misunderstanding, to fix every perception, to clean up every mess that was never yours. There is a quiet confidence in not responding. Not because you are afraid, but because you are free. Free from the need to prove. Free from the need to please. Free from the burden of always being understood. The strongest minds are not the ones who win every argument. They are the ones who no longer need to argue. They do not react because they are too focused, too stable, too clear. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy. To rise above the temptation to engage with every disturbance, every critic, every emotion that flares and fades. You begin to understand that most of what troubles you is temporary, trivial, and often created by your own thinking. So you train your mind. You pause before you speak. You observe before you act. You question before you assume. Does this deserve my response? Does this affect my principles? Will this matter tomorrow? Or is it just noise? When you learn to act as if nothing bothers, you do not become cold, you become clear. You stop feeding what drains you. You stop responding to what weakens you. You stop giving your peace away for cheap battles and petty recognition. Let others seek attention. You seek mastery. Let others chase validation. You build inner power. Let others collapse under emotion. You remain composed because you have trained for this. You have prepared your mind to hold steady when everything around you sways. You are not unfeeling. You are disciplined. You are not passive. You are purposeful. There is a kind of silence that speaks louder than any defense. There is a kind of stillness that commands more respect than any outburst. And that is what you embody when you no longer take things personally. When you no longer chase being right. When you no longer need the last word, you simply walk on untouched. Because you know who you are and nothing outside you can shake that. This is the power of Stoic philosophy. It does not change the world, it changes your place in it. You are no longer a puppet to emotion, to opinion, to outcome. You act with intention, with clarity, with principle. And when the world tries to pull you into its chaos, you smile, you breathe, you walk, because nothing they say, nothing they do, nothing they expect can move a mind that knows its own power. You are not here to be louder. You are here to be rooted. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to be at peace with yourself. You no longer fear silence. You use it. You no longer fear stillness, you live in it. And when others wonder how you stay so calm, so unmoved, so clear, you do not answer. You just continue, silently disciplined, free. You gain nothing by letting your emotions speak for you. You gain nothing by proving you are offended, by showing them they got under your skin, by answering every insult with outrage. You only show that they have control over you. But when you remain silent, calm, unshaken, you take that power back, not through confrontation, but through discipline. The world will throw its worst at you. It will test your limits, push your patience, trigger your pride. But you are not here to be tested. You are here to be unshakable. That is the strength found in the core of Stoic philosophy. You become a wall, not a mirror. You do not reflect back their chaos. You absorb nothing. You allow it to pass like wind through the trees. No reaction, no defense, no need to explain yourself, because you know that silence is not weakness, it is control. It is the decision to remain loyal to your inner calm. Even when everything around you is loud, think of how many moments were ruined, not by what happened, but by how you reacted. Think of how much energy you spent trying to make people understand, trying to correct opinions that never mattered in the first place. Now imagine walking away unbothered, not because you do not feel, but because you have trained your feelings to serve you, not rule you. Imagine no longer arguing, no longer over-explaining, no longer trying to convince anyone. You simply move forward with presence, with power, with peace. This is the mindset that frees you. Not caring less, but caring wisely, not removing emotion but mastering it. Because you realize you are not your reaction. You are not their words. You are not your anger. You are your breath. You are your choices. You are the one who decides what gets to stay inside you. And not everything deserves that space. Let them talk. Let them push. Let them misunderstand. You just remain still and let your stillness speak for itself. People expect chaos. They feed on drama. They look for signs of weakness so they know where to press. But when you give them nothing, they lose their power. When you remain composed, they lose their script. You turn the moment into a mirror where they only see themselves. That is not manipulation. That is maturity. It is what Stoic philosophy trains into you over time, with practice, with patience, with silence. You stop needing the world to be less chaotic. You start becoming less reactive. Because the real battlefield is not out there, it is inside. And once you win there, no loss outside can shake you. You cannot stop what people say. You cannot stop how they think. But you can stop letting it shape you. You do not need to defend your peace. You just need to protect it. Quietly, daily, relentlessly. It is not their insult that steals your calm. It is your attachment to approval. It is your fear of judgment. It is your need to be seen a certain way. And once you let go of that, no words can move you. No rejection can crush you. No misunderstanding can own you. This is the clarity at the heart of Stoic philosophy. To know that your worth is not up for debate, that your truth does not need permission, that your direction does not require applause. You begin to see the game. You begin to watch the patterns. People will test you, push you, challenge your silence. Not because you are weak, but because you are different. Most people do not understand stillness. It scares them, because it cannot be manipulated, because it does not react, because it holds something they do not. Power. The kind of power that cannot be taken, only given. And you stop giving it. You stop explaining your every move. You stop chasing clarification. You stop asking to be seen. You just walk. You just act. You just live. And let the noise echo behind you. Let them misread you. Let them wonder. Let them fill the silence with their own assumptions. That is not your concern. Your concern is your energy, your focus, your direction, because the longer you entertain the drama, the further you drift from your purpose. You are not here to be tangled in every tension. You are not here to correct every opinion. You are not here to be at the mercy of moods. You are here to lead yourself, to carry stillness, to hold peace, even in storms, especially in storms. That is the real test. Not when things are easy, but when they are not. When the insult is loud, when the outcome is unfair, when the emotion rises fast, and still you do not move, you breathe, you observe, you stay. And in that moment you reclaim something powerful, the ability to choose. Not based on feeling, but based on principle. That is the strength of the trained mind. It does not run. It does not flare. It does not explode. It holds. It waits. It moves only when ready, because it is not here to entertain chaos. It is here to build something that lasts. Your stillness is your fortress. And every time you protect it, you grow. You grow in clarity, in discipline, in self-respect. And that is worth far more than being right in an argument or being understood in a moment that was never yours to fix. They insulted you. You stayed calm. They provoked you. You stayed silent. They tried to shake you. You did not move. That is strength. Not loud strength, but real strength. The kind that does not require attention to prove itself. Because when you are composed, when you are disciplined, when you are inwardly anchored, there is nothing left to argue with, nothing left to react to. You have chosen a different level. This is the unspoken power at the heart of Stoic philosophy. To carry peace in a world built on reaction, to be deliberate when others are impulsive, to be grounded when others are loud, to be still when everything pulls you toward noise. You begin to notice that you do not need to correct them. You do not need to post a response. You do not need to match their energy. You just continue without explanation, without friction, without loss, because what they said did not matter. And your reaction did not define you. What defines you is your discipline. What defines you is your clarity. Every time you withhold reaction, you preserve energy. Every time you walk away quietly, you hold power. Every time you remain still, you choose yourself. You no longer let strangers control your mood. You no longer let outcomes shape your peace. You no longer let the moment steal your lifetime of growth. This is how you build silence into armor. A silence that does not suppress. It protects. It shields. It honors what truly matters. And what matters is not being right, but staying aligned. Not being loud, but staying whole. Let others make noise. You move with calm. Let others overreact. You pause and see clearly. Let others perform. You remain real. Because when your peace is non-negotiable, you do not hand it out to whoever gets loud first. You protect it like a sacred fire that keeps your life warm. And when they say you have changed, you smile because you have. You are no longer someone who gives your energy to every disturbance. You are someone who chooses, who acts, who walks forward quietly, but deliberately. And that walk, that posture, that silence, it teaches more than any argument could. This is not avoidance. It is ascension. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. This is not indifference. It is intention. You feel, but you are not ruled by it. You think, but you are not trapped by it. You act, but you are not pushed by impulse. This is how the Stoic lives, not detached from life, but detached from the chaos around it. So when the world
tries to shake you, let it try. You will not fall because you have chosen to root yourself in something deeper than noise. You have chosen yourself.
Not every storm is meant to be stopped. Some are meant to be walked through with calm, with clarity, with composure. You do not need to control the storm. You only need to control yourself inside it. And that changes everything. Most people panic. They flinch. They react. They let pressure rewrite their principles. But pressure does not break you. Resistance does not define you. Difficulty does not shake you unless you allow it. This is where the practice of Stoic philosophy becomes visible. Not in theory, but in tension. Not in comfort, but in conflict. You learn to pause. You learn to breathe. You learn to wait before responding. Because in that pause, you remember who you are. You are not a slave to pressure. You are not a product of reaction. You are not a victim of outcomes. You are trained. You are intentional. You are steady. And even if everything around you collapses, you remain. That is the strength of someone who has rehearsed peace, who has practiced restraint, who has become so centered that chaos becomes background noise. You begin to understand that most of the pain you feel comes not from what happened, but from how tightly you held on to how it should have gone. You expected ease, so you fought when it was hard. You expected approval, so you broke when it was denied. You expected control, so you collapsed when it changed. But now you learn to expect nothing except your own discipline. You do not hope for a smooth path. You train for a steady walk. You do not pray for no storms. You prepare your posture for the wind. And when the pressure builds, you do not fall apart. You rise. You remain calm because you have trained yourself to no longer be surprised by challenge. You have accepted that life is not meant to be predictable, only navigated with awareness, with patience, with principle. Others will panic. You will plan. Others will rush. You will breathe. Others will react. You will remain. That is not arrogance. It is training. It is the quiet reward of a mind that has been disciplined. The world may not understand why you stay so calm, while everything burns. But you do, because your peace is not based on circumstances. It is based on self-command. You no longer need things to be perfect. You only need to remain present. You no longer fight pressure. You absorb it and let it strengthen your focus. This is what Stoic philosophy teaches, not how to avoid storms, but how to become the kind of person who cannot be shaken by them. So when the next wave of stress rises, you do not tense up. You ground down. You slow your breath. You widen your view. And you ask yourself, what matters here? What is mine to do? What is mine to let go? And then you act not from panic, but from power. You will not be free until you let go of what you cannot control. This is one of the hardest lessons, but it is also one of the most liberating. You spend so much time trying to fix the past, predict the future, shape the outcome, hold on to people, control their thoughts, control their reactions, and in doing so you lose yourself. Not because the world is unkind, but because you refuse to accept that some things are not yours to carry. Let go. Let go of the outcome. Let go of the timeline. Let go of their opinion. Let go of the illusion that everything depends on you. This is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the wisdom found at the heart of Stoic philosophy. To accept that there are only two kinds of things, what is within your control and what is not. And peace. Real peace begins the moment you stop reaching. Into the second category, you come back to the only place you have power: your thoughts, your actions, your words, your responses. You stop gripping so tightly to expectations. You stop demanding that everything align with your plans. You stop suffering every time life dares to be unpredictable. You begin to flow, not with passivity but with presence, like water. You do not resist the shape of the moment. You move through it, calmly, clearly, effortlessly. You let go, not because you do not care, but because you care enough to stay whole. Because clinging does not change reality. It only breaks your spirit. And when you finally surrender to what you cannot change, you gain back all the energy you were wasting, and you redirect it into what actually moves your life forward: your choices, your clarity, your character. This is the quiet revolution of the Stoic mind: to be fully engaged without being controlled, to be fully present without being attached, to love without possession, to lead without force. And in that mindset, you stop panicking when people leave. You stop drowning when plans change. You stop collapsing when things do not go your way. Because your peace is no longer dependent on the things you cannot hold. You no longer beg life to obey your script. You simply live with calm, with courage, with eyes open. And whatever stays, you welcome. Whatever leaves, you release. Whatever hurts, you learn. Whatever is uncertain, you breathe through it. Letting go is not giving up. It is choosing to carry only what belongs to you. It is choosing to be light so you can move forward without resistance. Let the rest fall away. It was never yours to control. Silence is power, but only for those who know how to use it. Most people speak to prove something, to fill space, to protect their ego, to escape discomfort. But when you learn to stay silent, when silence is hard, you begin to master something deeper. You begin to master yourself. The world is addicted to noise. Everyone is shouting, explaining, defending, reacting. But the one who stays quiet, the one who does not flinch, the one who does not explain, holds the room, not because they demand attention, but because they do not need it. This is the quiet dominance that Stoic philosophy trains into you. You no longer speak to be understood. You no longer argue to be right. You no longer react to be respected. You speak when it is meaningful. You answer when it adds clarity. You move when it is aligned. And the rest you let pass. Because you understand that power is not in the volume. It is in the presence. And silence is presence undiluted. When you say nothing, you give nothing away. You remain mysterious. You remain unreadable. You remain in control, and that control shifts everything. In conversation, you do not rush to fill the space. You listen. You observe. You study. You let them reveal themselves while you remain grounded. And in that stillness, you learn more than words could ever teach you. Silence is not emptiness. It is awareness. It is strength. It is a pause that demands attention without saying anything. It is a breath that carries more clarity than 100 loud reactions. Let people talk. Let them over-explain. Let them guess. You remain quiet. Not because you are passive, but because you are powerful. You are not hiding. You are holding. Holding your energy. Holding your discipline. Holding your clarity. Because silence is the space where your strength prepares. It is where your next move is shaped. It is where your power resets. So when the world rushes you, you pause. When they provoke you, you breathe. When they expect your answer, you remain still. And when you finally speak, your words carry weight because they were not given lightly. This is not manipulation. It is mastery. It is emotional discipline. It is internal command. The kind of strength that does not show itself but is felt in every room you enter. That is what Stoic philosophy builds. Not loud confidence but quiet certainty. Not empty talk but meaningful action. Not explanation, but understanding. Without saying a word, the one who knows how to hold silence knows how to hold power. Your mind is your battlefield, not the world, not the people, not the situation. Everything begins and ends inside your thoughts. The doubt, the fear, the hesitation. It all lives there, and if you do not learn to rule it, it will rule you. This is why mental training is not optional. It is essential, because life will not wait for you to feel ready. It will arrive with pressure, with chaos, with resistance. And in that moment, you will fall back on your habits, not your hopes. So build habits that make you unshakable. Practice calm when things are calm so you can hold it when things are not. Discipline the small so you can endure the great. This is what Stoic philosophy teaches: to prepare before the test, to train before the storm, to choose your inner posture before the world gives you a reason to lose it. Every day you are shaping your response. You are choosing whether you react or remain. You are choosing whether your emotions control you or you control them. You are choosing whether you rise or collapse. And the choice is always yours. Even in the heat of the moment, even in the tension, even in the pressure, there is always a breath, a space, a pause, where you get to decide. You can let the moment own you, or you can own the moment. The strongest people you know are not fearless. They are trained. They are practiced. They are prepared. They have rehearsed their calm in moments no one saw, and when the world fell apart, they remained, because they built something that could not be moved. A mind grounded in principle, anchored in clarity, detached from the noise. That kind of mind is forged, not found. It is shaped through repetition, through silence, through reflection. You begin each day with a decision. Will I lead myself, or be led by everything else? And in that decision you reclaim power, not over others, but over yourself. That is where everything changes. Not outside, but within. Let your calm be your rebellion. Let your breath be your weapon. Let your silence be your posture. And no matter what comes, you will remain. Not because the world became easier, but because you became stronger. Because you stopped feeding fear. You stopped chasing comfort. You stopped needing approval, and you returned to what you can control: your mind, your movement, your mission. That is unshakable. That is freedom. That is the quiet mark of someone who has chosen to live with discipline. You want to make progress, then move in silence. Not because you are hiding, but because you are focused. Not because you fear judgment, but because you no longer need recognition. There is a kind of progress that only grows when it is protected. When it is nourished in silence and privacy and solitude. The world teaches you to announce everything, to post every step, to explain every intention, to be seen. But the wisest ones, the ones who build legacies, they do it quietly, not because they are uncertain, but because they are certain enough to let their results speak. This is a principle rooted deep in Stoic philosophy. You act and you let your actions echo. You build and you let your creation speak. You grow and you let your life show it without explanation. Because power, real power, does not speak loudly. It moves quietly, strategically, with patience and with purpose. You do not need to tell the world what you are doing. You just need to keep doing it. Because the more you explain, the more you invite distraction. The more you reveal, the more you invite noise. And noise kills focus. So you protect your vision. You shield your process. You move quietly until the work becomes visible without needing to be introduced. Think of the most powerful people you respect. They are not always the ones talking. They are the ones doing. They are not in every room. But when they enter, they do not have to announce it. Their presence speaks. You want that presence. Then build it away from noise. Stop announcing. Stop performing. Stop asking the world to notice. Ask yourself instead, am I showing up even when no one sees? Am I following through even when no one claps? Am I doing the work because it is right, not because it is visible? If the answer is yes, you are no longer performing. You are becoming. And that shift, that internal decision, that quiet adjustment changes everything. You stop leaking energy. You stop waiting for applause. You stop seeking permission. You start leading yourself. You start walking your own path. You start building momentum that does not depend on who is watching. This is the quiet strength of someone who no longer explains because they no longer need to. This is the still power of someone who has chosen growth over validation. This is the invisible posture of someone who walks with depth, and when the results appear, no one will question how, because they will see the clarity in how you carry yourself. Not with arrogance, but with truth. Not with performance, but with presence. Not with words, but with work. There is a quiet victory that no one sees. It is not celebrated. It is not praised. It is not recognized. But it is the most powerful victory of all. It is the victory over yourself, over your impulses, over your emotions, over your need to explain, to react, to control. That victory is silent, it is steady, it is earned, not given, and it is the foundation of everything you will achieve. Because what happens inside you matters more than what happens outside. What happens in your mind matters more than what others think. What happens in your heart matters more than what others say. And when you learn to rule those things, you have unlocked something that cannot be taken. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, the ability to master yourself without needing external validation, without needing the world to behave the way you want it to. You are free because you no longer rely on external conditions for your peace. You create your own peace by choosing your own thoughts, by controlling your own emotions, by leading your own actions. And when you stop giving away your energy to the things that don't matter, you become a force that moves forward, quietly, without being shaken, without being distracted. You stop expecting the world to understand you, because you understand yourself. You stop waiting for others to approve of your path, because you have already approved it for yourself. You no longer need to justify your decisions to anyone, because your decisions are aligned with your values. They are rooted in something deeper than approval. They are rooted in truth. This is the silent strength of the Stoic mind, a strength that does not need to be proven, a strength that does not need applause, a strength that is built in the quiet spaces where only you and your discipline exist. And when you build that strength from the inside out, it does not matter what the world says. It does not matter what the world does, because you will always remain anchored in your own truth, in your own calm, in your own clarity. So ask yourself, what part of me still seeks approval from others? What part of me is still trying to prove something to the world? And how can I return to my center and stop seeking anything outside of myself for validation? The answer is within you. It always has been. It always will be. And when you learn to stop looking outside, you will begin to see the quiet strength that has been with you all along. You are not here to be liked. You are here to live with integrity. The world will want you to bend. It will want you to follow. It will want you to perform. But you do not bend. You do not follow. You do not perform. You walk your own path quietly, purposefully, without expectation, without apology. This is the ultimate freedom to act in alignment with your own truth, regardless of what the world thinks. And the more you practice this, the more you realize that the world does not control your peace. Your peace is yours and it is unshakable. You are the master of your response to whatever comes your way. You are the keeper of your own calm, no matter how loud the storm outside may become. This is what Stoic philosophy teaches you. Not to escape the noise, but to stand unmoved in the midst of it. Not to avoid discomfort, but to remain grounded in it. And when you understand this, you will see that nothing in the world can truly take your peace unless you allow it. So return to your center. Return to your clarity. Return to the stillness inside you that no one can touch, no one can disturb, and no one can shake. When you know yourself, you no longer need the world to understand you. When you stand in your truth, you no longer need the approval of others. When you walk your path, you no longer need applause. You are enough without needing to be anything else. And when you live this way, you will notice that everything changes. Not because the world changes, but because you no longer look to the world for validation. You no longer seek anything outside of yourself to prove you are worthy. You are worthy because you are you. And in that truth, you find strength. You find peace. You find freedom. This is the heart of Stoic philosophy. To be true to yourself, to be steady, to be still, and to remain grounded in every circumstance. So walk forward, with your head high, with your heart steady, with your mind clear, and remember that the real power is not in what others see, but in how you live when no one is watching. Because when you live with integrity, when you live with discipline, when you live with purpose, you no longer need the world to affirm you. You affirm yourself, and that is the greatest power of all.